Adabox 008, Octo. Sometimes we wonder if robotics engineers ever watch movies. If they did, they'd know that making robots into slaves always ends up in a robot rebellion. Why even go down that path? Here at Adafruit, we believe in making robots our friends. This Adabox is based around Cricket, a creative robotics and interactive creations toolkit. When paired with motors, servos, a Circuit Playground Express, and your own creativity, you'll be able to craft your very own robot friend. Hello and welcome to the unboxing of Adabox 8. I'm John Park for Adafruit Industries. I am so glad you were able to join us for this really exciting unboxing of Adabox 8. Adabox 8 is the first Adabox where we are unveiling a brand new robotics platform, the Cricket. Cricket is the creative robotics and interactive creations toolkit that not only helps you build robots like rovers or typical robot arms, but it allows you to express yourself with all kinds of new creative types of robots. We've been building a whole bunch of interesting things with this for the past couple of months as we've been developing Cricket, including bubble-blowing bots and a Christopher Walken cowbell-playing bot, as well as all sorts of other projects that you're going to be able to do when you dig into your Adabox 8 and start checking out the Learn Guide that we created on the Adafruit Learn system. Now, let's have a look at what's inside your Adabox 8. First, we'll open it up and take a look at the inner box, Adabox 8. There it is. Now, I'm going to set this aside for a second and see what we also have in the box besides the Adabox itself. We have some rainbow-colored yarn, and that's going to come in handy as you start building different types of robots that maybe use string and pulley or winches, or even for simple decoration or lashing things together. It's just a really handy thing to have once you start doing creative robotics projects. Next, inside the box, we have a puzzle. This is a Make Robot Friend puzzle with our Adabot, and there's even a little blow-in here of a shiny, happy Adabot face. And part of the reason this is in here is that we've had this philosophy at Adafruit about making robot friend, not robot enemy or robot slave. So you often see in films and other media this representation of a future where robots are bad guys. But we would really like to steer things more towards robots are our friends or our companions. So we decided to include this puzzle of our robot friend poster that you may be familiar with. Digging further into the box, we have the Lady Ada coloring book, R is for Robot. R is for Robot is a really fun coloring book, just like the name says, that will allow you to go through and find these great illustrations of all of these robots or robot-related topics, such as Sir Isaac Asimov. Now, inside of our coloring book, we also have a little extra special set of stickers. There are a few different things in here, actually. We've got the adorable Adabot sticker. How can you not love Adabot? We have a set of 3 stickers on this sheet for Cricket, including the cool Cricket logo and these adorable crickets here. And we also have these makeup emoticon sheets that you can use to create different characters on materials like cardboard and cups and ping pong balls and things. Now let's have a look at the contents of the Adabox 8 itself. First of all, you'll notice we have the very appropriate green Cricket colored sheet. And this goes over the philosophy behind the box, as well as all of the contents. So keep that handy so that you can check out what you get in the box. Now I'm going to open up the box. We've got our cool die-cut Adabox logo slip sheet, and Adafruit logo. Let's open it up, and we have our lovely tissue paper and Adabox sticker. And it is jam-packed full of stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is pull all of this good stuff out here, and then we can go over these contents. So one of the first things you'll notice we have is this Rainbow Magic Spring. And you can use this for different types of robotics projects. I used one as a sort of spring return for a hammer on a mini golf obstacle, but I'm excited to see what kinds of things people come up with for the spring. And we've also got some pipe cleaners here, which are really handy, again, for decoration, but also you've got a pretty useful piece of wire in there that you can use for lashing things or creating joints on small robot parts made from cardboard, for example. So we've got a whole pack of these, and your colors may vary. These are pretty sweet here. I've got the green, two kinds of green and purple. And now, before we go any further, let's talk about the real main event for Adabox 8, and that is the Cricket. So if we open this up, you're actually going to find a few things in here. We have, most importantly, the Cricket itself. The Cricket is a pretty incredible board. This one was designed to work with the Circuit Playground Express. And when the two are paired together, what the Cricket does is take care of a lot of the stuff that's difficult in robotics. Everything from running motors to turning servos to precisely controlling stepper motors, even really current-hungry things like solenoids or electromagnets can be controlled by the Cricket. It also has 4 capacitive touch inputs on it, 8 inputs for sensors such as potentiometers or flex sensors, as well as a 5-volt NeoPixel output so that the 3.3-volt Circuit Playground Express can talk to NeoPixels perfectly, as well as an audio output for the amplifier that's built onto the Circuit Playground Express so that we can connect up a speaker. Now, the Cricket also takes care of power management. So by powering the Cricket with batteries or a wall adapter, you'll be able to run both the Circuit Playground Express and all of those outboard motors and things that you have connected to the Cricket. Now, inside the Cricket package, you also will find 4 little rubber feet to place on the back side of the Cricket. We've got little marks there that show you where to put them, as well as this mounting hardware kit. So we'll use these standoffs to connect the Circuit Playground Express both mechanically and electrically to the Cricket. Speaking of Circuit Playground Express, you're going to get one of those in Adabox 8 as well. Now, in order to connect the Cricket and the Circuit Playground Express, we're going to use this mounting hardware that comes with it. This consists of these little brass standoffs and a bunch of little screws. So what we can do is flip the Cricket over and start placing these screws in and turning the standoffs. You can just get those finger tight. So these are making contact with the board as well as providing a mechanical fastener for the Circuit Playground Express. Now you can get these in pretty tight just by holding the screw with your finger on the backside and turning it by hand. You can also go in with a screwdriver if you like and tighten them up, but you don't want to apply so much torque that you break anything. These boards are pretty sturdy, so I wouldn't worry too much. And one more here. There we go. Okay, so now to mount the Circuit Playground Express to the Cricket, I'm just going to make sure that the USB port on the top of the Circuit Playground Express is pointing in the same direction as the DC power plug on the top of the Cricket. And as I set those over top of the posts, I can then drop in a screw, and I'm going to use a little Phillips screwdriver to screw those into place. Again, you don't want to put them in too tight, but just snug finger tight will do. Now you'll notice there is a USB port on the bottom of the Cricut, and this one is only used on rare occasions if you need to update the firmware that's running the Cricut. You'll see that one's marked as Seesaw only. The Seesaw chip is our little expander and interface chip that is communicating between the Circuit Playground Express and the rest of the Cricut. And if you like, once you get that last screw in, you can go back and tighten up these bottom ones a little bit. All right, and now you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put on a little mounting feet. Why not? There are also a set of 8 holes on the corners of the Cricut that you can use to mount it to projects using screws or zip ties or even these pipe cleaners. In some cases, you can even just use double stick foam tape. All right, there we go. The Cricut and Circuit Playground Express are now connected and ready to go into service. Now that we've taken a look at the Cricut and the Circuit Playground Express and put the two of them together, let's have a look at some of the other things that come in Adabox 8. So I'll start off with this bag here, and I've got a servo motor. This is a standard size servo, as well as all of the arms and horns and mounting hardware that you need to use it. So there's our servo, and that actually plugs right into this 4 servo section that we have right here on the Cricut. And then you can connect these different horns or arms or wheels to the splined shaft right there on the servo, and then connect lots of things to that to turn them. So we've got also a second servo in here, and this one is a little micro servo. Now these are really lightweight, but also fairly strong, and it also comes with a selection of little arms that you can connect to it. And this servo also has the same arrangement on the wiring so that it plugs right into the next port here of the 4 that we have available on the Cricut. Digging in a little further, we have a battery pack. So this is a 3 AA battery pack, and I recommend alkaline batteries for this. And it also has a couple little screws in there that you can use to mount the battery pack to things. And then that just plugs right into the DC power plug on the Cricut. We also have in here some fun decorations. These are googly eyes, so you can tape or glue those onto all sorts of different parts of your robots that you're building. And we have a couple more things here in this bag. We've got a little speaker, and this is a nice loud speaker that you'll be able to connect up to the speaker ports right there on the Cricut. So these are little screw terminals. I won't screw them down right now, but if you set them in there, you can imagine. That's how you connect to those. And this is quite a bit louder than the small speaker that's built onto the Circuit Playground Express. And one of the really neat things about the Cricut is that it's one of the very few robot platforms that will allow you to play sound while you're still doing other things. So playing WAV files that you've uploaded onto the Circuit Playground Express can allow your robots to talk or sing or make beeping noises while other things are going on, such as sensors are being read or motors are turning. We've also got in here this great little packet of make-do screws. These are a couple of different sizes of these little screws that you can use to connect cardboard. And you can actually take some fairly thick cardboard, a couple of layers of your sort of standard corrugated cardboard that you find in most shipping boxes can be connected with the short screws, and then multiple plies beyond that, or thicker cardboard with these long ones. And these are pretty cool because they're easy to work with just using this little tool that comes in the bag. So you can punch your hole through the cardboard and then turn around and use this side of the tool to connect to the little hex drive and twist that into place. So these are really cool, and you get a nice little set of those to get you started. Okay, taking a look at the next bag, we've got a whole ton of stuff. All right, let's lay this out here. I'm excited about these. So we've got, first and foremost, a pair of what are called TT motors. These are gearhead DC motors, and there are two of them in here, which is perfect in case you want to build some sort of a rover type of robot. And these have little flatted shafts that can accept different types of wheels and attachments, and we'll get to that in a second. There are actually shafts on both sides, and they have some nice little jumper connectors on the ends of the wires, which are marked for red and black, so you can get the same polarity on two motors when you plug them into the DC motor output on the Cricut. So again, I'm not going to screw these down right now, but just place them in there to give you an idea. Look at all the things that we're connecting to this. It's awesome. So those will go in there like that, and then you can screw those down into place. Now, I mentioned wheels. We've got two of these great wheels. I love these orange wheels, and they've got these cool clear tires on them that have some nice traction, kind of sticky. And these simply pop onto the DC motors like so. And since they've got a little flatted shaft, they're on there really securely. They're not going anywhere. So we've got two of those. Now you can do interesting things like put both wheels on a single motor, depending on the type of use that you have in mind, like that. Or you can go with a more traditional approach of having two motors, two wheels, like so. And this will allow you to do things like create robots where you have tank-style steering, where you can roll them in the same direction to go forward, roll them in the same backwards direction, turn just one in the opposite direction of the other to spin around in place. So those are our TT motors with these nice orange wheels, but that's not the only thing that you can attach. We've also got here this little TT motor pulley. So this is a pulley wheel that has a little section in here that you can run over a wire or a cord if you want to create a balancing gondola-style robot. You can also use it to simply attach things. So this goes, again, right onto the shaft of our TT motor. And once it's on there, there's a little screw in the bag that you can use to connect this even more securely. And then this has a series of 8 little holes in it that you can use to attach things, or you can even use hot glue. So this is a pretty handy little part. Now, speaking of wheels and attachments, we've also got these 3 paddle wheels. So these paddle wheels, I wouldn't recommend making a boat using your Cricut, at least not the first time out, but they are sort of like the paddle wheels on a riverboat. I've used them, again, for attaching things such as a striker to hit a hammer in my mini golf course, but you can come up with all sorts of interesting things and use zip ties or string or yarn or pipe cleaners to attach things to these paddle wheels, and then again in turn the paddle wheels can be connected to your TT motors, like so. So we've got 3 of those in different sizes, and I'm excited again to see the creative use that people come up with for these really cool attachments that we have. Here we've got our batteries, so a set of 3 alkaline batteries, so you can put those into the battery pack and get going right away. We've also got some zip ties, and again, as I mentioned, these are really useful for attaching things to things like this paddle wheel. So you can run these through here like this, and then connect up something like, say, a popsicle stick to the wheel. So we have a little pack of these zip ties here. We've also got a USB cable here. And now you'll use this to connect your Circuit Playground Express to your computer so that you can program it and the Cricut over USB. Now, a little word about programming. When you've got your Circuit Playground Express connected to your Cricut and you plug in the USB to the Circuit Playground Express and then into your computer, you can program the Circuit Playground Express in MakeCode or in CircuitPython. And both of these are highly interactive. MakeCode is a graphical programming environment, so you can drag blocks around to create your program, or you can iterate really quickly using CircuitPython. Now, we've got a whole bunch of tutorials that you'll be able to check out in the Learn Guide to get you started with both MakeCode and CircuitPython projects. Okay, what else have we got here? I mentioned Popsicle Sticks. These are really useful, as I said, for connecting to things or making legs for robots or appendages or little feelers for a bug bot. Who knows what you'll do with them, but they are adorable and very useful. We have some nice little double stick foam tape tabs here that you can use, 4 little pieces here to connect things such as your Cricut onto a piece of cardboard to act as a chassis, and then use a couple more to connect the TT motors as the wheels for a little robot. And we also have another connection method. These are really cool. These are these little pop rivets that you can use to connect cardboard pieces. So you can poke a little hole through a couple pieces of cardboard and then slide the little rivet through and put this little receiving piece on the other end, click them together, and now you have a really nice solid connection that doesn't want to come apart, but it's still able to turn, so it's really good for making pivots, such as joints on limbs. Now, Adabox 8 has a lot of stuff in it, so why don't we do a quick recap of everything that came in the box. We have the Cricut, our creative robotics and interactive construction kit, as well as the Circuit Playground Express. And then we have the Makeup Emoticon stickers, Rainbow Yarn, an Adabot sticker, a Rainbow Magic Slinky, a couple of TT Motor wheels and tires, Popsicle Sticks, Googly Eyes, the 3-sticker Cricut sheet, Lady Ada's coloring book R is for Robots, the Robot Friend puzzle, Make Do construction kit, screws and tool, a full-size servo and accessories, a micro servo and accessories, the USB cable, batteries and battery pack. We have these great pop rivets for cardboard, zip ties, the 3 paddle wheels, pulley wheel, a small metal speaker, some double stick foam tape, the pair of TT motors, and some pipe cleaners. That's a lot of stuff. I'd like to give a special thanks to DigiKey. They were our Adabox 8 launch partner, a Cricut distributor, and they are friends of robots everywhere. So thank you, DigiKey. Now I thought it would be fun to show how you connect some servos up to the Cricut board and program it all using MakeCode. So I've got my Cricut here, and I've already connected up a couple of TT motors to it by screwing them into the motor 1 and 2 terminals. And now I'll take this standard size servo and plug the wires into servo port 1. And you'll always plug them in with the yellow signal wire facing outward, away from the board. Now I'll plug in micro servo into port 2, and then I'm going to plug in USB from my computer into the Circuit Playground Express. The Circuit Playground Express NeoPixel ring will light up green, showing me that I'm now in bootloader mode. That means that it shows up like a USB drive on my computer, so now I'll be able to program MakeCode and then drag the downloaded UF2 files right onto the board. It couldn't be easier. So now inside of make code, what I'm going to do is I have this loop. It's called the forever block. Anything in that loop is just going to go on over and over and over again. In the categories section on the left here, I have a Cricut category, and I'm going to grab a Cricut set servo 1 to angle 90 degrees and drop that into the forever loop. Now what I can do is add a little bit of a delay. So we'll grab this pause, and we'll pause, let's say, for a second. And then I'm going to duplicate this set servo angle block and make that copy. I'll duplicate my pause and one more duplicate of the set servo angle. Now right now these aren't going to do too much because they all have the same angles in there. But the way this works is the Cricut set servo, and then I have a drop-down menu. I can pick servo 1, 2, 3, or 4. So I'm going to stay with servo 1 right now. And then at the beginning, we're going to have the servo go to 90-degree angle, which is the center of the servo. Then we'll have it go down to 0 and up to 180. So we'll change those values, and we have this nice little interface where we can drag down to 0 and up to 180. And let's put one more pause in here. Okay, now what I'll do is download the code by clicking the big purple button here. And what this does is it saves the UF2 file to the computer, into the downloads folder in this case. And then when I go over and open up this window, I'll see I have CPlay boot listed here. That is the name of the Circuit Playground Express when it's in bootloader mode. And then I have the file I downloaded, which is the code that will tell the servo motor to go to 90, pause, 0, pause, 180, pause, and continue over and over again. So now we'll take the file that we downloaded and simply drag it onto the CPlay boot. You'll see the red light flash on the Circuit Playground Express, meaning that it is receiving data. And now what we can do is plug the battery power into the Cricut. We can actually unplug the Circuit Playground Express from USB. And now when I turn on the power on the Cricut, it tells the servo to start moving left, center, right, and so on. Now I can plug the USB back in, and that will allow me to go back to bootloader mode. I'm going to turn off the Cricut power and head back over to make code. Now what I want to do is duplicate what I've just created and change the values to run servo 2. So we'll run servo 1 and then run servo 2 and loop that. So one quick and easy way to do this is simply duplicate the whole forever block, and then I'm going to change all of these values in the drop-down to set the Cricut servo 2, and then I'll drag that whole block right underneath the first one, and I can get rid of this duplicate forever loop. Just by dragging it off to the left, it'll delete those blocks. And now you can see we set servo 1 3 times and then set servo 2 3 times. So let's download that code. And my Circuit Playground Express is already in bootloader mode, so it's ready to receive the file. And now I'll head back to the download window. And let me refresh this, and there's my new file, which I'll drag to CPlay boot. You can see it's received the new file. I'll turn on the Cricut, and I'll reset the board. And now you can see we go servo 1, servo 2. Servo 1, and servo 2. Now I'll turn that Cricut board off and go back to bootloader mode one more time. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell these motors to run. And we could put those in the forever loop, or I'm just going to have them run all the time. So I'll create a on start loop. And in here I'm going to go back to the Cricut category, and I'm going to scroll down a little bit to motors. And here we have Cricut run motor. I'm going to set Cricut Run Motor 1 at 50% speed. That's fine. And then I'll duplicate this and go to Motor 2. And how about we'll change that one, go a little faster. How about all out, 100% speed. So one more time, we're going to download our file, and then I'm going to open up that folder and drag the new file to the Circuit Playground Express. And now I can unplug USB. I'm done programming it. I'm going to turn on the Cricut. And now you can see we've got both motors running. And we've got our servos dancing left and right. And that is how easy it is to program the Cricut and Circuit Playground Express using Make Code. So what do you do next with your Adabox 8? Well, we've got a terrific Learn Guide that we've put together that has a whole bunch of stuff for you to learn. First of all, we have the fundamentals of using the Cricut, getting set up with Circuit Playground Express and the Make Code or Circuit Python methods that you can use to program it. We have a section on cardboard fundamentals so that you can get your fabrication skills all ready to build a variety of projects. And we have a section on making it move with Cricut that talks about all the different types of motors and servos and steppers and things that you can control and how to do so. Then we'll take you through the section of the first projects you'll build using Make Code and your Cricut and Circuit Playground Express. Following that section, we have more intermediate level projects that you can do using Circuit Python. Now, best of all, we're really excited that Cricut is not just the launch of a robot kit, but really the launch of a robot platform. And so we hope that you'll take the skills that you learn and the projects that you do and then go far beyond them into all sorts of creative constructions that you can dream up. This has been the Adabox 8 unboxing. We can't wait for you to get started building with your own Cricut, the Creative Robotics and Interactive Creations Toolkit. Now, if you enjoy this and subscribing to the Adaboxes, don't forget that Adabox 9 is right around the corner. Take two, sorry about that. Drat, I was so close to getting that right, I hit the wrong button. So that was the unboxing, as you can tell. The previous part, where there were very few mistakes, that was the previously edited and live broadcast section. And now this is the real deal, where I get to screw up my audio. The mixer was fine, it was the darned button I forgot to pick. So that was the unboxing. Thank you so much for coming out. Really excited that you are interested in and hopefully subscribing to this Adabox. As Lady Ada was mentioning in our Discord chat, it is going to be available at some point also in the store as a kit that you can buy. But right now, a lot of our Adaboxes are shipping out, and we're shipping out hundreds every day. Some people have even started to get them in their mailboxes, which is terrific. So the guides that I mentioned, I wanted to have a little look for a second at these Learn Guides, because we've got a really terrific curriculum, I think, for people who want to get started in robotics. And one thing I'm really proud of with this is that, as you may have read in Lady Ada's Cricut Manifesto, which is here as part of our guide, part of the evolution of Adabox 8 and the Cricut was originally thinking about doing a rover type of a robot, maybe a line follower, or maybe one that could be a drawing bot. But as we thought about this, and particularly as Lady Ada thought back to some of her previous experiences with robotics earlier in life, it started to become clear that there are a lot of constraints and restrictions in something that's a purpose-built kit. And we've done those. They're not bad kits. We've done rover-style kits before, but I don't know that you ever see that many cases where people extend them beyond the rover, maybe tuning the code and writing algorithms for clever maze solving and things like that. But they start as a rover and they kind of end as a rover, and then they go up on your shelf. I'm really proud that of the projects that we built for this guide, I think maybe only one is a wheeled bot. It's one I did. I'm guilty. I made the Cricket Carnival bumper bot that's back there. The rest of them are a wild array of things that are art bots and interactive bots, bots that can count with their hands, and bots that are carnival themed, mini golf hazards, all sorts of things that maybe take us outside of the usual definition of a robot being a little thing with wheels or legs that walks around. So yeah, as Lady Ada said, Adabox 2 was great, but we can do better with every box. And I think this one is a real huge step up for people who are interested in robotics and making creative projects, interactive creative projects. So in the Learn Guide, we've got a unboxing that'll take you through all of the parts and pieces if you want to read up more on them, particularly our beloved Cricket right there. And then we have a little section on cardboard fundamentals. So we've done a lot of construction with cardboard. One of the ideas is that we have our Cricket here. Let me grab one. This one's connected to all sorts of things, which tends to happen. So I've got my Cricket, and I've got servos and motors connected to it. You don't want the restriction of how you use your robot to come down to the chassis you put it on. So rather than coming up with a plastic or a metal chassis, we leave that up to you. For most of these projects, you're going to come up with something more interesting that's a better fit for what you're doing by crafting it yourself. And cardboard is a really great material to craft. So we have a fundamentals guide to get you going. Then we have this excellent guide that Mike Borella wrote on making it move with Cricket. And this gives you neat little lessons in the different types of things that you can hook up to the Cricket, from solenoids to servos to DC motors to stepper motors, and there might even be some others in there, but those are the main kind of moving parts things that you can hook up to the Cricket. Going on, then we have the projects section. So we first have this section that's make code based projects. You've seen just now in the video some make code style coding with the little blocks. So we have this really cute Sparky the Blue Monster, Blue Smoke Monster automaton that Dano Wall made. We have a stroboscopic zoetrope that I just made recently that uses ping pong balls and the flashing of your Circuit Playground Express, plus the motor spinning capabilities of your Cricket. We have a collapsible house. This one is amazing. It's a sort of bit of paper engineering meets fairy tales, and uses a servo to open and close this house. I built a cam follower automaton. So getting into automata and the different mechanisms that you can use is a open door once you've got Cricket and Circuit Playground Express. And then my Carnival bumper bot I mentioned. This is a sort of tank tread style steering bot, a little tail dragger. And then we get into intermediate projects using CircuitPython. So CircuitPython is fantastic for coding the Cricket on Circuit Playground Express. It's fully featured. It's kind of the sweet spot. I love make code, but in Circuit Playground Express, you can do so many things. You can, like I mentioned before, play wave sounds while you're running servos, do all kinds of interactions, use the capacitive touch features, or read sensors, potentiometers and flex sensors and light sensors, distance sensors. That's kind of one of the underutilized Cricket features, in fact, so far, just because we haven't had time to get to it. But you got 8 inputs there for signal, so ground, power, and signal, which these 3-wire sensors, we have bazillions of them in the Adafruit store that you can check out and hook up to your Cricket. So here's this tightrope unicycle bot I built. That's a Circuit Playground Express CircuitPython project using the little pulley wheel. I have my little friend Minerva, the owl, using this trick from Mr. Lady Ada of having the eyes move back and forth as you turn the cups. That probably looked weird when I did that. Sorry, everyone. Adorable Trash Panda, and this is a sort of meta recycling, because it's recycling a box from Amazon that probably some good stuff came in that Dana Wall was using, and this was pre-printed with this cute panda pattern, or trash panda pattern, I should say. The Stumble Bot. This one uses a couple servos to do a walking robot, kind of a turtle style, baby turtle style. It's so cute. And another zoetrope. It's Zoetrope Mania around here at Adafruit for Adabox 008. This one is a more traditional slit type of slit scan type of zoetrope. No flashing lights necessary. Your eyeballs provide that for you. I made this slightly creepy, but maybe leads us in towards Halloween. Cricket-controlled animatronic eyeball, so we can have a little gimbal that moves X and Y axis on a ping pong ball. And then we made a couple of different golf courses. So Dano made this one that has 3 different features on it, including this very cool slinky return for the ball to bring it back to you. And then I made the hammer time, which smashes and smashes and tries to prevent you from scoring. So we also have this section on project inspiration, and so we link to a whole bunch of cardboard and papercraft blog posts that we've done, as well as some links out to some other great, more advanced JunkBot creations that could serve as inspiration for you. And let me switch cameras over here for a second, go to my main workshop cam, and have a look at some of those that I just mentioned, because they're all kind of here in one space. So I have, this is my automata that I mentioned, this little cam follower. I scavenged some Cricket parts, so this one's actually a bare one right now. But if you look at the guide, this one is controlled with the DC motor, and a little wheel, one of these TT motor wheels, is running on here to turn the drum for us. I've also got my little eyeball I mentioned here. That's a good one to think about as you come up on Halloween. It uses 2 servos, one to move in the x-axis and one in the y-axis to look around. And you can extend that one. Like I mentioned, we've got these inputs for potentiometers, which is essentially what joysticks are. If you get a joystick that has an analog to potentiometer style, you could do some really cool fluid movements with the eyeball. There's my friend the bumper bot that I mentioned. And here is Minerva. Right, so you can see this is a lot of really broad range of stuff that you can make. There's the zoetrope. There's a couple of different styles of heads. You could swap these out if you do different animations. Here's my little hand that does binary counting with 4 servo motors. So this really, like I said, broadens the range of possible things that you can build that go way beyond your typical robot arms, not that there's anything wrong with them, or little rover bots, by giving you the tools that you need to develop anything that you can imagine, really. So let's see, what else have we got here? I don't want to take too much more of your time, but I will mention one thing that I forgot to say earlier is that we've got Arduino support as well. So our projects in the guide are all about the make code in the circuit Python, but you can use Arduino, and it's screaming fast on these. And what else? As you start building these projects, what we would love is for you to share on Discord if you want to come in the chat and show stuff off that you've made. Or come on to our weekly show and tell. So every Wednesday we have the show and tell, which is live on air using Google Hangouts. Check that out and bring on your creations that you make with Cricut. We think people are going to make really cool stuff. Just yesterday, in fact, on my show, I built a little drumming rhythm sort of music making machine, the Solenoid Orchestra, and I attached everything with Lego, and that's gotten a whole bunch of our friends here at Adafruit excited about building Lego adapters so that we can hook things onto each other and hook sensors and solenoids and servos and the Circuit Playground Express and Cricut itself onto Lego, because it's a really nice standard platform. And gosh, I think that is all I wanted to cover. Like I said, we do have a little thing called Adabox 009 on the way, and it's coming quicker than you can imagine. Not to overshadow the one that we've just unboxed that maybe you haven't even gotten yet. But let me play a little video here real quick to whet your appetite for the Adaboxes. All right, well, that does it for our unboxing of Adabox 008, the Cricket edition. We had a lot of names going into this. Octo, that's another good one. Octobox, Octobot, but I think of it as the Cricket one. Really proud to have been able to share this with you. We're really excited about Cricket. As you can tell, we've been having a blast making projects using it, and we've got more guides coming, more projects that we're doing as we continue to develop it, continue to improve its capabilities in software, in the different languages you can use. So thank you so much for Adafruit Industries. I'm John Park, and this has been the Adabox 008 unboxing. Bye-bye.